I welcome everyone. January 27th, 2025, year of our Lord. And I wonder how everybody out there in Facebook land is doing. So pound that like button, share, hit the notification button, hit the links down below. Look, freedom doesn't come from the Constitution. The Constitution was created to protect our freedoms from government becoming tyrannical. Rights are like muscles, and if you don't use them, you lose them. And so it's really important that we push back on government whenever government steps out of bounds. And so I appreciate everybody, and I first want to thank everybody for reaching out to me. I had a painful weekend with some kidney stones. So far, so good. Today I was, kind of resting, I had to get some work done, but I didn't really feel anything today. I don't know if it passed or not. It might have. I'm setting up to see with I believe a urologist in the next week or so. So I'll keep everybody updated on that. So look, I'm going to go into my first story. So the heat is on. The heat is back on in LA with another 10,000 acres burning. Now, the difference with this fire compared to the fires before is that these fires are probably in the hood. Because the media is not really covering it, right? Oh, thank you, Julie. I appreciate that. Thank you very much. But, when they were in Hollywood and, in the Palisades, where all the elites are, you had round the clock coverage, because they fit a certain demographic. And it's kind of sad. I get the same feeling, whenever there is a certain type of person, let's call her a young white girl, goes missing, blonde hair, blue eyes, it's like there's round the clock media coverage to find her. But to be truthful, the little African American girl that gets swept up in Chicago, you'll never hear that story. And, it's kind of the same thing that we see here. Hey, Amy, how you doing? God bless. I'm thank you for joining. I know you're, we're all kind of getting through this together. But 2 more people were arrested in LA. One woman who was arrested said she enjoys causing chaos. Another man was caught setting trees on fire and said he enjoyed the smell of burning leaves. My question is, what kind of punishment should these people get? How many years do you think these people should get? I think because people, if people die, I think that's life in prison with no parole. I'm not big on the death penalty. I think the death penalty, starting fires, 10 years at least. Yeah, I can't see less than 10 though, right? And I don't want these people to be deported before doing their time. I want these people who started these fires 12 years. Yeah, okay, yes, you guys 10, 12 years. I could get down with that. No parole though. No parole. And as soon as they're done with their time, we're going to deport them, right? They're out. They're going wherever the hell they came from. And so, can you imagine what our response would be if a foreign country had bombed the Palisades? We would have been at war. They should have to volunteer with the fire department or something. I like the idea of people volunteering. I'm not sure about these people though, because they're they're sabotagers. You know, they like to sabotage. And, you know, I don't know if I trust them. Why would we feed them, send them back? Well, Amy, you know what it is? Because I don't think that they have the right to live free at home. That's why I believe they deserve prison time. It's you know what? It's a small price to pay, okay, to make sure that justice. I mean, if you send them back to their country, right, without serving any prison time, you're saying that they're free, you know, because they can go anywhere in the world, and you know they've paid no consequence. So you know, I want to see them go to prison, but you know, that's why we should have a debate. You know, and to be clear, I'm not for FEMA. I'm hearing talks now that Trump wants to disband FEMA. But what we should do is focus our money where people need it the most. So I'm saying $1 million and under. You know, if you have assets under $1 million or under, those are the people we should help first. I'm not looking to rebuild Hollywood. I'm sorry. You know, I'm not looking to rebuild $20 million mansions. I don't think that's fair either. You know, but if we're talking about, you know, rebuilding the cops' place or rebuilding, you know, some worker, you know, some civil servant employee, you know, no problem. You know, I have no problem rebuilding that guy's house. But I'm not rebuilding Hollywood. I think that's ridiculous. Torture them in prison. Okay. I could be for that. You know. As long as we're within the Constitution, I'm for it. A good revelation came out today with Trump, or it was the other day. Trump is going to release the JFK, RFK, and MLK files. Now, I completely support this. I think this is good for the country. You know, I always say the best disinfectant to lies is transparency. And so I want to see the documents. My only problem is that the government now is at 60 years to doctor up whatever they want. You know, so are they really going to show us that the CIA and the mob were involved in killing JFK? Do you think they're... Okay, so Julie says, do you think they're going to give us actual facts? I don't know, Julie. I got to be honest. You know, we know that the CIA was involved. We know the mob was involved. We know Cuba and Russia were involved. You know, again, you know, now with AI and all the intelligence that we have, we can literally create documents that look like they're 50, 100 years old. So, you know, I'm excited that these papers are coming out, but I have to be honest, with the government that has lied to me my entire life, do I trust them? Absolutely not. And I think everybody has a right to question the government, because they've done nothing but lie to us. Every single thing. You know, whether it's JFK, RFK, MLK, you know, they lied about Vietnam, they lied about the war in Iraq, you know, they lied about 9/11, they lied about Building 7. You know, so, you know, the government is great at creating false narratives, you know, and creating false stories to go to war or to assassinate people. So I'm not 100% believing that we're going to get the truth, but I'm willing to see whatever the president releases. I am totally for it, and I support that. So good job, Mr. President, on that one. Go into story number 3. California has diverted mental health facility money that helps house and give mental care to very, very vulnerable people. And where did they put the money? So instead of giving money to the mentally ill, you know, to like house them and feed them and clothe and just help them. You know, these are people that really cannot take care of themselves. These are not welfare queens. These are people that are a danger to society, okay? What did Governor Newsom do? He diverted the money to woke agendas. You know, he gave it to woke departments and stuff like this. And, you know, again, so what's LA doing? Not only is LA on fire, but now there's thousands of mentally ill people walking the streets of LA. Now, I'm going to share with you a personal story. I have a connection to mental hospitals. My grandmother actually worked in the largest mental hospital in the world, and it was called Pilgrim State. Anybody can look it up. It was on Long Island, and it closed. And when Pilgrim State closed in New York, it literally destroyed several whole neighborhoods around Pilgrim State, okay? These people, I mean, they would poke you with stuff. They'd shoot you. They'd stab you. They'd babble in the street. You know, women would drop their pants and go to the bathroom right on the sidewalk. They didn't know what they were doing, right? These were people that, you know, they needed help, you know? And so LA is right now making that mistake. Long-term facility locked in lifetime. Yeah, I mean, you know, Amy, there are definitely people that, you know, they need the help, you know. And so, like, I am against welfare. I'm against disability, right? But I am for helping people who are bedridden, right? People who, you know, they're so disabled from their mental capacity or whatever's going on that they're a danger to others, right? So I bet you that if we just focused on that, we could probably remove 95% of all disability. They said people who work, let me read some of these. They said people who worked there were some of the toughest people. God bless it for doing that. Yeah, Pilgrims was a tough facility. My grandmother, she had the scars to prove it. Let me tell you, she was a tough woman. And, you know, you went hands-on in that place because they went hands-on with you. And, you know, it's not easy. If anybody thinks it's easy, go try it. It's a nightmare. You need several people to take down one little person, right? Because it's almost like they have subhuman strength, right? And so, you know, to just release these people into the community in LA, completely reprehensible. So I wanted to share that. Also, let me go into story number 4. So how about Meta and Facebook spending over $25 million to lobby against TikTok? And again, Zuckerberg said his goal, now check this out, his goal was to protect election integrity, content policy, and terrorism. You know, I love whenever these creeps hide behind national security to remove a freedom. They've been doing that garbage my entire life. Amy said she did psychiatric nursing many years, very tough and dangerous. Amy, hats off to you. God bless you. Everybody give Amy a round of applause. I mean, that is, I'll tell you, it really is God's work. Because there's no amount of money that you got to do it for the love or for the knowledge. of doing it, because I'll tell you, it was tough work, and I'm glad that you got through that. And I'm sure you have a lot of stories you could probably share. Very hard stories, tough stories. And you know in your heart, those people, they can't fend for themselves. You can't put them out in society. So talking about Zuckerberg, let's remember, now Zuckerberg is going after TikTok, talking about freedom and all this stuff, national security. Meanwhile, it was Zuckerberg that flipped the election. Remember, he's the one that in 2018 went to the White House, buddied up to Trump. You know, this is one of Trump's weaknesses. He falls for these people real quick, right? Because he wants the photo op. He wants to look like everybody's his friend. So Zuckerberg goes there. They look like they're best friends. And next thing you know, 6 months later, Zuckerberg is spending $54 million to get rid of him. And was censoring Republican speech, MAGA speech, right? He was kicking people like me off. People who, you know, were talking about the election. Like if you said the election was rigged, you were going to jail, Facebook jail. You know, if you were talking about the jab, maybe you wanted ivermectin, right? You went into Facebook jail. This is the last guy to preach about TikTok, which, by the way, I'm on there only 10 days. I already have 1,100 followers. And why? Why is my TikTok going through the roof? Because they don't censor me, right? Now I'm watching here right now. I'm watching my board, and I'm not being censored right now. And I hope that they don't censor this, because it's a lot of work for me to put out these videos and then for them to censor them, because if they censor them, then I can't get them and put them on other platforms. Give them Benadryl, knock them out, put them in. Yeah, I mean, I you know, I don't know how to treat them, Amy. You know better than me. But I know one thing, you can't have these people walking the streets. And for Newsom to take the money and put it into woke agendas and just set these people free while the fires are going on. I mean, to me, that's the most lunatic thing going on. But I wanted to get back to Trump and Zuckerberg, because after Zuckerberg went to the White House, he spent $54 million to defeat Trump and using his platform to censor people. You know, this is the last guy who should be preaching about election integrity, content privacy. You know, this is a control pervert who should leave us alone. Truth is, Facebook, there's the truth. Facebook cannot compete with TikTok. I'm being honest with everybody. They just can't. And people are catching on to the lies that the government has been saying. Republicans and Democrats both have been saying about TikTok. And here's the truth. If TikTok was such a national security, why is Trump on it? Right? Trump's on TikTok. That's how Trump got the youth vote. Trump would not have won had it not been for Barron talking to him, telling him, hey, go on TikTok. So, you know, that's the truth, right? Trump wouldn't have won. So yeah. So anyway, they can't compete. Zuck is bipolar. No, Zucker's a liar. Zuck is look. Elon, Zuck, Vivek, Jeff Bezos, Bill Gates, right? All of these creeps, right? Look, they only care about one thing: fattening their wallets. That's all they care about. They don't care about Trump. They don't care about you, your family. They only care about them taking care of themselves. Zuck is an absolute piece of trash, and nobody should trust him. I certainly don't. So now I'm going to go into story 5. So President Trump and a lot of Republicans, now Trump is only in for a week. He's only been in office less than a week. And I think he's moving way too freaking quick. I think he really needs to slow down and think before he does stuff, because he's starting to make a lot of mistakes, okay? And I think a big mistake is him and Republicans going down to Mar-a-Lago for a Republican retreat, okay? After they just spent a month and a half on vacation. That's completely ridiculous. Trump just got on the job, right? And they have no business going down there to Florida to a Republican retreat. And the reason that they're saying is so they can come up with a strategic plan to govern the country. Well, you guys had since November 5th to come up with that plan, right? So, and couldn't they do that plan in the taxpayer-funded 55,000 square foot mansion called the White House? The White House is 55,000 square feet. You can't say, hey, look, I don't want to charge the taxpayers millions of dollars, right? Because every time they fly down, we're paying for it, right? This isn't on Trump's dime anymore. This is on our dime, okay? And I don't want to send them to a retreat. They literally just got to work, right? The last thing these people need is another vacation. Look, I hate this kind of stuff. I called out Biden when he did it. Watching Biden on the beach in his freaking shorts every other week. The country has $36 trillion in debt. All this is going on. At least give me the perception that you give a damn about our tax dollars. But to me, it doesn't send a good signal that you're being conscious about time or tax money. He helping today, Miramar, Miami, illegals. I saw him today was on TV. But you know what, Amy, he didn't have to go to Miami for that. He didn't have to go to Miami. Those ICE workers, right? First off, Trump isn't arresting anybody, right? Let's be honest. He sends his people out. They go arrest people, right? That's how that works, okay? He's down there with this retreat, okay? He's on TV way too much already, okay? He's already done more interviews than Biden did in 4 years, But again, we have to remember something. Trump is the executive order president. Everything he's doing can get reversed by the next president. Don't forget, when Biden won in 20, all he had to do was get a piece of paper and just start erasing everything Trump did. That's all the next president has to do, because Trump's not governing the way he's supposed to. He's not going through Congress. This is not the way we're supposed to be governing. As a matter of fact, nowhere in the Constitution do you have these powers to do executive orders, okay? Nowhere in the Constitution. Czars are not in the Constitution either, right? But, both parties do it, and whether he likes warmer weather, he's office in Margo. Yeah, well, look, if he wants warmer weather, then don't be the president, right? Don't sign up for the job. Republicans made the argument that, oh, look at Biden, he's old. Look, he can't do the job. Well, what, Trump can't handle the weather? It's kind of a weak argument. And especially if we're paying for it. Again, I am all for Trump deporting illegals, but he could do that from the White House. There is no reason he's got to go to Florida. And Mike Johnson, okay? All of those other Republicans going down there for what? They're not arresting anybody. They're going down there They're bullshitting with each other. They're, doing whatever they're doing. And then Trump comes out, he'll have several press conferences, make it look like he's doing something. But, in reality, they're just wasting time. Everything he's doing, he can literally do in the White House where he belongs. Isn't that what I didn't, but what you guys elected him for? I mean, why do we have the White House? Put the White House for sale. If you don't want to use the White House, put the damn thing up for sale. I mean, why do we have it? Again, to me, this is not conservatism. It just sends the wrong signal. That's my opinion on it, and everybody's free to disagree. Now, another story is that, flights are happening. We're deporting thousands of illegals. That's great. Which is kind of what Amy was saying. But again, he doesn't have to be in Miami to do that. What I hope is that we're not scooping up people who are actually lawfully waiting in line, during the process. We know Trump has already overstepped the Constitution regarding the 14th Amendment, natural born citizenship. He's already got that struck down. It's going to keep getting struck down because this has already been adjudicated. And Trump tried this in the first term, and the Supreme Court knocked it down. But he tried, and I don't blame him for trying. But again, natural born citizens is not the problem. The problem are the people coming in. Now, what Trump did, he did the same playbook he did in the first term, which was he's sending troops to the border. Now, the problem with sending the troops to the border is that they don't have any authority to stop anybody. So they're there for decoration. Once the coyotes and the pimps and the dealers figure that out, that border's going to be wide open again. Because again, unless they have the authority to stop them, we're going to be seeing a lot more people coming across that border. Again, we need to go through Congress. He's not writing law. We need to go through Congress for this stuff. We need to write laws. They can't be reversed so quickly. That's right, Julie. If it's not in the Constitution, we shouldn't do it. Definitely something we should live by. I want to play a clip of Trump, and I'll talk about it in 1 second.
If the tariffs worked out like I think, a thing like that could happen if you want to know the truth. Years ago, 1870 to 1913, we didn't have an income tax. We had is tariffs, where foreign countries came in and they stole our jobs, they stole our companies, they stole our product, they ripped us off, and they used to do numbers, and then we went to a tariff system, and the tariff system made so much money. It was when we were the richest from 1870 to 1913. Then we brilliantly came in with an income tax. No, we don't want others to pay. Let's have our people pay. And then you had the Depression in 1928, 1929. I call it 1929. That was a bad time, but you didn't have tariffs then. You had tariffs that ended in 1913. But it was the richest our country ever was. That was President McKinley. In fact, we're renaming the mountain McKinley.
I can support that. So a few things there to understand is that tariffs. Okay, so the way the tariffs work is that when we put a tariff on China goods, China imports our goods. So imagine it comes on a ship. It comes to our shore. We have importers on our shore. And what happens is it's the importers that pay the tax, not China, right? So it's our people to pay the tax. Then that tax gets passed down to the consumer, okay? It's just like a sales tax, okay? Or a corporate tax, right? Trump right now sounds very Democrat, okay? Now, when Trump says, because Democrats, I argued with Democrats for years about the corporate tax. They just don't understand. If you hit me with a 28% corporate tax, I don't pay the tax. I pass that on to my customer. Just like now, so like if I import goods, let's say I have a manufacturing company, and I import aluminum, right? Because we no longer make aluminum products here. So I import some aluminum for one of my businesses. So let's say he slaps a 25% tariff on aluminum, okay? Well, what do? You think I'm going to eat that? No, China's not going to eat it. I'm passing that to the customer, right? Now, what's going to happen is my customers are going to look and say, hey, wait a minute. I can't absorb that. So I might lose business. I might have to fire people, right? I might have to shut down. That's why protectionism doesn't work. But the thing to remember, when Trump brings up 1870s to 1913, he says that, he's basically saying that's the golden age. That was actually the Gilded Age. That was the Industrial Revolution, right? And he's right. That was the sweet spot in America. What he's missing is we didn't have a Federal Reserve. Our money was backed by gold, right? He's missing the fact that our government was only about 10% the size that it is today, okay? You could never run this government on tariffs. It would never happen. I have a buddy that had asked me a question earlier. Do you think Trump can replace the income tax with tariffs? There's no way, right? Because our government is too big, right? He'd have to cut there were no social programs, right? You're talking about, this is the time when our great-grandparents or grandparents came in through Ellis Island, right? When they came here, why did they come here, right? Because our immigrant relatives came here for different reasons than a lot of the immigrants that come here today, right? They came here for freedom, right? You could open up a little fruit stand. You could open up a little bike shop, right? You could open up repairing shoes, right? You didn't need a license. You didn't need to go to some government building, ask for insurance, right? You didn't pay an income tax, right? When you wanted to start a business in America, you were free to, right? So let's say me, Amy, and Julie wanted to get together and start our own medical practice, right? We could have done that. And we could have done it really cheap, right? But because of government making things so prohibitive, right? It's so hard for us to pull together, okay? To put something like that together, okay? It would take years to do. Back then, heck, you could probably get it done in a week, 2 weeks, maybe a month. That's right. And yeah, they came here with the intent to work and make a better life for themselves. But it was the freedom, it was the economic and individual freedom that we had. The fact that, we have to think, when I see another thing that I really dislike is, now Trump is separate. I'm going to keep Trump separate. I like seeing Trump on TV. I think he's on a little too much, but I like to know what my president is doing. I didn't like Biden hiding in the closet. That stuff I don't like. But I'll tell you the stuff that I dislike. Like my Senator Lindsey Graham in my state, right? You know, he's on Fox News and Newsmax more than he's at work, right? He's down there at that retreat. Why? I mean, this guy, does he even work, right? He puts on more makeup than any woman I know, right? Why? Because he's always on TV. And he's caking it on to be on there. And, you know, I'm sorry, but, you know, when you're $36 trillion in debt, right? I'm going to be very critical of both parties. I'm going to be very critical of you guys wasting time and wasting money, right? There is no more time to waste. The time is now, you know? And so, I don't want to see these people going from show to show all day and not doing their job, right? So the thing is that what's happening is we're going to pay the income tax and we're going to pay the tariffs. This is going to be a double whammy. Like I own several businesses, so I'm going to pay corporate taxes, income taxes, sales taxes, property taxes, all sorts of taxes, right? What's left at the end? I don't know. You know, your guess is as good as mine. Because another problem is Trump just wakes up and says,